So today's Freaky Friday, and I know that I said I'd mostly be talking about Ovidian themes, but today I wanted to talk about Edgar Allan Poe. He's usually considered a darker poet, so he's a little freaky, if you will. And he's most famous for the poem The Raven. And so even though I wanted to talk about Edgar Allan Poe, I actually don't want to talk about The Raven. I want to talk about another work that he writes called The Philosophy of Composition, where he talks about how he wrote The Raven. I think that one of my favorite things about this is that he dismisses the idea that a poet just magically comes up with something, but instead is meticulous in their craft, very intentional, like an architect. And so they write stanzas. And actually what's super interesting is that the word stanza in Latin means room. And so there is a component of poetry that is similar to architecture. Stanza can also mean to stand, and a stoa in Greek means to stand also, right? So stoas are part of architecture, stanzas are part of architecture, and in poetry there are also stems. And stem in Indo-European can actually trace its roots back to the idea of standing as well. And so a part of poetry is standing, and a part of poetry is also architecture. But Poe writes this idea that when he was thinking about The Raven, he was thinking about how he was going to make a work that was both melancholic and beautiful. That was the effect that he wanted out of his poetry. And so as he was thinking about it, he went down even to the syllable. What syllable is the most melancholic and yet beautiful syllable? And he came up with the concept of or. Or is the most melancholic and beautiful syllable. And so what word is both melancholic and beautiful that utilizes the syllable? It's the word nevermore. And his issue with nevermore was that nobody says nevermore, right? Nobody's just constantly saying nevermore. And so he wanted a parrot, so an animal that would parrot back the word nevermore constantly. But the issue is a parrot is rainbow colored. And so as he was trying to figure out how he would write this poem, The Raven, he realized that a raven is the only other animal with parrot-like capabilities. And so he uses the dark raven to parrot nevermore. And this is just one of those great things about poetry.